Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. A very good morning. The Honorable Professor Dato Dr. Muhammad Ismail Abdul Aziz, Deputy Vice Chancellor, Students Affairs and Alumni, University Technology Malaysia. The Honorable Dato Loh Keng Kok, UTM Board of Directors. The Honorable Professor Dr. Ruth Adinda Alias, who in Johor, our Deputy Vice Chancellor, Academic International, University Technology Malaysia, the Honorable Professor Dr. Durisha Idrus, Campus Director of UTM Kuala Lumpur, Mr. Abraham Liu Kang, Chief Executive Officer, Huawei Malaysia, Mr. Muhammad Rizwan Issa, Representative from Ministry of Higher Education, distinguished guests, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the public lecture by Mr. Abraham Liu Kang, Chief Executive Officer, Huawei Malaysia. Allow me to start this event by calling upon Al-Fadhil Ustaz Sharizal Shahidan to recite the dua. Fatafadhal mashkura.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. اللهم إنا نسألك بأنك أنت الله، نسألك بكل اسم هو لك سميت به نفسك وانزلته في كتابك أو علمته أحدا من خلقك أو أثرت به في علم الغيب عندك. In the name of Allah, most gracious and most merciful. Praise be to Allah, the cherisher and the sustainer of the world. O Allah, bring our heart close together, improve our relationships, guide us to the way of paradise, and lead us from the depth of darkness into light. Prevent us from committing shameful deeds, whether open or secrets. Bless our hearing, our sight, our heart, and our spouses and our children. Allahumma ya zal manni wa la yamunu alayka ya Allah wa la yamunu alayna ya Allah. We seek our assistance and humbly ask your guidance, and we beseech your forgiveness and return to you in repentance. We cherish faith in you and place our trust in you. Allahumma ya Hannan ya Mannan ya Badi' as-samawati wal ard. Let us effort succeed well and secure success. Make us fulfill our determination, give answer to our prayers, listen to our requests, cause us to obtain the good in this world and the hereafter. Give us much and more than our expectation. Guide us to righteousness and to the path that you bless. Provide us with people that are sincere, trustworthy, noble and honest, responsible in building and develop nation, building a united people, and we forever seek your blessing to excellence, glory and distinction. Amin ya rabbal alamin. Rabbana alayka tawakkalna wa ilayka anabna wa ilayka al-masir. Rabbana atina fid dunya hasanah wa fil akhirati hasanah wa qina adhaban nar. Walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin.
Jazakallahu khairan kathiran Al-Fadhil Ustaz Sharizal Shahidan for the dua. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, University Technology Malaysia is proud and honoured to have this lecture by Mr. Abraham Liu Kang, entitled Building a Better Connected World. Mr. Abraham Liu, your presence today mark an historical event to UTM. Ladies and gentlemen, for your information, these public lectures come under the CEO at faculty program mooted by the Ministry of Higher Education in support of the second shift of the Malaysia Education's Blueprint 2015-2025 is under higher education, which aim to enhance the talent excellence. Ladies and gentlemen, before we start with the lecture, we would like to invite the Honorable Professor Dato Dr. Muhammad Ismail Abdul Aziz, our Deputy Vice Chancellor, Students Affairs and Alumni, to deliver his welcoming speech. Please welcome Dato.
Thank you, Mr. MC. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera, salam satu Malaysia. Yang berbahagia Datuk Loh Keng Kok, the Board of Director, University Technology Malaysia, Mr. Abraham Liu Kang, CEO of Huawei Malaysia, Professor Rosalinda Alias, Deputy Vice Chancellor for Academic Affairs and Internationalization, Professor Durisha, Director of UTM Kuala Lumpur, Encik Ridwan Issa, representative from KPT, senior officers of the universities, dean of faculties and schools, fellow members from the industries, media partners, and my fellow students, and ladies and gentlemen. Alhamdulillah, my gratitude to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala for His grace and mercy, which allow us to get together here for the first CEO faculty program, a public lecture by CEO of Huawei Malaysia, Mr. Abraham Liu Kang. First of all, on behalf of University Technology Malaysia, we welcome all attendees, especially Mr. Abraham Liu Kang, the CEO of Huawei, and teams to UTM Kuala Lumpur. Our Vice Chancellor, Professor Datuk Dr. Engineer Wahid bin Omar, sends his warmest regards and his apology for not being able to be with us today. Ladies and gentlemen, UTM is entering the second phase of its 2020 global plan that focuses on improving, strengthening, and high-impact program. As a university moves forward, the entire leadership of the university stands with its tagline of innovative, entrepreneurial, and global, and appreciate the positive role of various stakeholders at every stage of its development. The CEO faculty program is a major initiative in its second focus of Malaysia Higher Education Plan for talents excellent in education development. It aims to encourage institutions of higher learning to engage with industries and to engage with industry leaders who are competent for sharing their experience, expertise, and tacit knowledge in their respective specialties. Mr. Abraham Liu Kang, the CEO of Huawei Technologies Malaysia, is one of the appointed CEO under this program. We will be spending a significant time with him and with our students in the next 2 years. He will be sharing with us his experience pertaining to ICT, development, leadership, and mentoring for ICT sector practical knowledge transfer. We hope he will be keen to develop local talents, enhancing knowledge transfer and promoting greater understanding of ICT technologies and digital economy. The willingness of visionary CEOs like Mr. Abraham Liu Kang to invest time and energy in institutions of higher learning like us augurs well for the nation, as industry and academia collaboration can harness the best minds from both worlds, resulting in accelerated innovation. That's one point that which I would like to highlight to the students who are here. Mr. Abraham Liu Kang became the CEO at the age of 26 years old. And now he has progressed to become CEO of Huawei Malaysia at the age of 34 years old. So if you see, fellow students, you are now, your age difference between Mr. Abraham Liu Kang and you is only about 10 years old, and he has achieved one of his ambitions to become the CEO of a country 2 or 3 years after he has graduated. So isn't that an aspiration that we should copy? We should learn for his success, from his success. I was given 2 speech texts. It's a very long speech text, so I won't dwell on that, but I'm sure everybody is keen to hear Mr. Abraham Liu Kang on his experiences and expertise and the way forward for the digital economy. Before I conclude, I would like to take this opportunity to express my appreciation and thanks to all parties involved, especially the Office of Deputy Vice Chancellor, Academic and International. Professor Rose, thank you very much. UTM Innovation and Commercialization Center, the Corporate Office, and all parties involved. I once again express my gratitude to all of those present today, and I pray that the cooperation between Huawei, UTM, and our country, Malaysia, will be a successful venture and glorious and blessed by God. Inshallah. Thank you very much. Wabillahi taufiq. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Dato', for the welcoming speech. Ladies and gentlemen, before we start the sessions, allow me to invite Professor Dr. Samsul Saibuddin, Dean of UTM Advanced Informatics School, ICE, to introduce our speaker today, Mr. Abraham Liu. Please welcome, Prof.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi, and a very good morning. It's my pleasure to introduce you today, Mr. Abraham Liu. And as I mentioned to him a bit just now, it's very interesting in Huawei, where they have a signage saying that from soldiers to general in 3 years. So I think Mr. Abraham Liu has actually proved that it can be done. From soldiers to general in just 3 years' time. So probably he can share with us a bit more on that. So I would like to introduce Mr. Abraham Liu. He's a Chief Executive Officer of Huawei Technologies Malaysia, Sdn Bhd, and he was appointed as the Chief Executive Officer of Huawei Technologies Sdn Bhd in October 2014 at the age of 34, as mentioned by Prof. Dato' Ismail just now. Prior to that, he was the Vice President of Huawei Southern Pacific region. Mr. Abraham joined Huawei in 2001 as a wireless product manager. After that, he worked in a number of roles, including country manager of Democratic Republic of Congo. And he was also the Vice President of East Southern Africa Regional Office, responsible of strategy planning, market analysis, sales and service, as well as project operations for Africa Regional Office. And just now he also shared that in the initial stage, the sales for Sub-Saharan and Northern Africa was about 20 million initially, but in just merely a few years now it's about 2 billion, 3 billion, I think. So it was, the growth is very, very tremendous. Mr. Abraham graduated from Central South University of China in 2001. And after obtaining a bachelor degree in computer science and ethnology, he joined Huawei. And without further ado, I would like to welcome Mr. Abraham Liu to give us his speech and give him a full round of applause.
Hi. Thank you. A very good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Mr. Deputy Vice Chancellor, Director of the Board, professors, doctors, masters. It's my great honor to be here today. As part of the CEO faculty program, I have this chance, this opportunity to stand here, although I'm only a bachelor. I'm very excited, and I appreciate this opportunity. To be honest to you, I'm also a little bit nervous. This kind of feeling is so familiar. It's called me back to a memory, 14 years ago, just at the beginning of my joining to Huawei. I was a sort of shaman, and I still remember almost the same season, in November. I think I was visiting one of my customers in Anhui province. And the first presentation I will have to do in my career after I graduated from the university and get a job in Huawei. After training, a series of training in Huawei, and I was asked to go to one of the customer's office and do him a presentation. It takes me like a few days before, it takes me many hours to do the preparation. And the first night I was almost sleepless. And I feel like I was prepared. But when I went into the customer's office, there are many customers sitting in front of me. I was so nervous, and I almost forget everything I have prepared. So that's the similar feeling like today. It's my first time to act as a lecturer, in front of the students. Yeah, when I was in a university, I used to think, all these teachers, they are so easy, But now I feel it's not that easy. As introduced by, Mr. Vice Chancellor, Deputy Vice Chancellor, I joined Huawei in 2001, and I spent around 2 years in the domestic market. In 2002, end of 2002, I was sent into Africa. That seems like a long time ago, but the memory is just just happened yesterday. At that time, Huawei just began our business development in overseas. I was lucky. I was one of the very early birds. Went into overseas at the age of 23, when I was 23. I still remember the first destination of my overseas trip. It was from Beijing to Lagos in Nigeria. And there was one first question I was asked in English. By the way, my English was not good at all at that time. My English education is more on the reading, but the listening and oral English is at that time it was bad, So I was practicing my English. The first question I was asked by a foreigner is the one sitting next to me in the plane. He's a Nigerian brother. He asked me, "What is your name?" I said, "My name is Liu Kang," because that's my Chinese name. The correct pronunciation is Liu Kang. But he trying to repeat my name. He said, "Lincoln," you see? So, yeah, so that's actually a very interesting question, That's where I get my English name, Abraham Lincoln, Since then on, I began my African journey, for almost 10 years. I spent around 3 months in Nigeria, and then from Nigeria I went into South Africa, and so from South Africa I was supporting the whole region, as a wireless product manager. So I was obliged to travel to the countries over there. My wife have counted for me, if I'm not wrong, I have been traveling to more than 30 countries in that continent in 1 year, in not one single year. And it was not that easy, to be honest to you, because Huawei, as a Chinese brand, at that time, we are the, it takes time for us to convince the customer over there to accept that a company headquartered in China can also produce the high technology equipment. And some of the customers in South Africa, the white guys, in their mind about China is still the red China. So it takes us a lot of time to convince them, about what is the latest situation about China, and then get an opportunity to bring them to China, Beijing, Shanghai, and Shenzhen to visit our headquarters. We call it the Liu Silk Roads. After years of practice like this, Huawei's footprint in Africa, I think, we are now the number one in terms of the market share, and we are serving around 1 billion population over there. And as part of as I have participated this journey, I feel very proud of it. Well, I think I talked a little bit much about myself. Today, the topic I'm going to share with you is a big one: build a better connected world. I think before I start the presentation, I would like to ask a question. Is there anyone who is majored in ICT related major? Okay. May I ask you a question? Do you know who is the one who make the first telephone call? Well, yes, correct. That's Alexander Graham Bell. So around more than 100 years ago, in 1876, Mr. Alexander Bell, the inventor of the telephone, he made the first call in his laboratory. Actually, he was calling his assistant. The name of his assistant is Mr. Watson. The word he said, "Mr. Watson, come here, I want to see you." These are the simple line words. And these simple line words mark an important step in the communication history. However, after that, it took nearly 100 years for human beings to achieve 400 million connections. Because we regard this first call is the first connections remotely. Before that, most of the time people talk face to face. So since the invention of the telephone, it creates an absolutely new way for people to talk to each other. And exactly after 100 years, in 1987, that's when Huawei technology was founded. And the first few years, Huawei our main business is to be an agent for the PBX. I think some of you may know the PBX. It's the small switch used for the telephone in a small group. It was like a typical usage for the small hotels. And at that time, we don't have our own products. It was founded by Mr. Ren Zhengfei. And the first initial funding is only 20,000 RMB, equivalent around 2,000 USD with a few people. And After the 1 or 2 years, they began to make some initial fund and invest in the R&D, you know, to do the research and development for our own. And at that time, you know, Huawei is very small, but the ambition from the founder, it was big. He has a internally he has a very famous saying to say, at that time, he said, after 20 years, if there are 3 main suppliers in the telecom industry, I want Huawei to be one of them. And from 1992, Huawei began to build our own base in the domestic market. And in 2000, that's when Huawei began to expanding our overseas markets. And 2011, we began to expand our footprint from the traditional telco network into the other 2 different business groups, which is enterprise business, government ICT, and the consumer business. I would say Huawei was encountered the best of the ICT development with the prevail of ICT technologies and the people's desire of communication. The connections reached 10 billion from 400 million just within 30 years. The trend enables the fast development of Huawei and enables the growth of myself, as I mentioned. So today, we are here to talk about Huawei. You may have heard about Huawei before, but what kind of company it is? Let me give you some introduction about Huawei business. The first impression you have about Huawei maybe is the research and development capabilities. The investment for last year, 2014, we put in the research and development is 6.5 billion USD. And this year, 2015, it's going to be more than 7 billion USD. That sounds a lot of money, but to help you to have a better understanding, the NASA, they spent just 700 million on the probe of Pluto, which is just around 1/9 of our Huawei's annual research and development investment in 2014. So if Huawei were a space agency, that's how much we have spent in our R&D. 9 missions to the Pluto. Here are more information about our R&D investment. Many people are asking what is the secret of Huawei's success. My answer will be the innovation. We have maintained a very consistent R&D investment. And we understand the R&D investment is not a sprint. It's actually a marathon. It takes a lot of money and time, but we have to stay the course and keep the researching on our chosen area and making the breakthroughs. Huawei supports the innovation through our heavy investments. Every year, over 10% of our revenue we put into the R&D. And the R&D investment increased by a factor of 10 in 10 years, and totally 30.7 billion USD. has been spent in R&D in the past 10 years. No matter what happens in the market, we believe this maintaining a long-term competitive edge for Huawei, and that's really one of the most important factors keep us to be successful in a long run. And the long-term investment has brought the results. As of December 31st of 2014, Huawei have granted 36,511 patents. And we have submitted 44,168 patent applications in China and 18,791 applications abroad and 14,555 international patent applications through the Patent Collaboration Treaty. In 2014, Huawei have surpassed Panasonic to become the world's biggest generator of the patent applications. Well, here we see is an iceberg. For the general public like us, the normal people on the street, we probably only feel and experience the tangible changes that innovation brings to us. However, there are two types of innovations. Innovation in the application and the products, that consumers can feel experience directly, and the invisible innovation is underlying technology, just like this iceberg shown here, with the ice above the waterline and below the waterline. So Huawei, we have established research institutes around the world. There are many 16 research and development centers out of China. For example, the one in Bangalore in India is more for the software. The one in Russia is more for the mathematics or algorithm. And the latest one is in Paris. Yes, India. So India is in Bangalore is for the software. Software, yeah. So the design, the latest R&D center in France, in Paris, is our design institute. Is basically the R&D for fashion, for beauty. And we have also the Testing and Engineering Institute in Germany. So many companies are used to innovate in applications and products, but they ignore the need to innovate in fundamental technologies that underlie their business. Innovation is like an iceberg. The visible top is only one part. Investment on underlying technology is actually more important for us. The bit above the water may be very shiny and beautiful, but if it is not supported by the advances below the waterline, then the iceberg will not last long. I will give you an example. From our mobile communication system, where we have a small cells. Small cells are like the cell towers, which have now been widely adopted by telcos operators because of their low power consumption and ease of installation. Well, we have met some difficulties, around year 2004, 2005 in Europe. When we went to Europe, it was even more difficult for us to be accepted by those customers over there. I think these small cells I mentioned just now is we call it distributed base station. And it was invented according to the European customers' requirements. We customized this product for them. The biggest pain for those European operators at that time is to get the space in the density area to build up their base station. And the rent fees is so high. So these small cells we invented solve them this problem because it's small size of the the save a lot of spaces, of course save also a lot of renting fees, and easy to install. This product's innovation, behind that products, there are a whole series of innovations in algorithms, materials, chips, design, and energy savings. These are where we derive our core competitive edge below the waterline. So if you divide innovations into three areas: products, application, and technology innovation, then Huawei is not just investing in developing new products and applications. We are also devoting a lot of money and man hours to researching fundamental technologies. We are also devoting a lot of money, and without this kind of innovation in these technologies, we could not maintain our edge in products and applications. For instance, Huawei is increasing our investment in these materials, processes, algorithms, high-end manufacturing, microchips design, and our aesthetics research center in Paris, as I just mentioned now. There gathered many of the top fashion designers dedicated in design of Huawei's consumer products. Most of this kind of investment will not produce the revenue or profits for the recent years. The impact of this kind of investment is for the future. So the chips as a key to the competitive IT, this one is one of the main strategies Huawei has adopted. This is the beating heart for the IT industry. We are usually seen as an upstream input to IT, but they can be the drivers of success of the industry and even of the national security. Since 2006, Huawei we began to do our own research and development of chips for smartphones. In 2012, we have launched this chipset we call Kirin K3V2. That's the first product demonstrating the power of our own chipsets, our own chips. It was the world's smallest quad-core processor, and it went on to become the first Chinese-made smart device processor, and the shipment of that processor was more than 10 million units. And right after, the next processor is still the Kirin, had a full system on the chip of SoC architecture, which means that a central processor, communication model, audio and video codecs, and peripherals are all integrated in a single chip. This Kirin 920 chips for the smart devices support 5 different standards, including the TD-LTE, LTE-FDD, TD-SCDMA, WCDMA, and GSM. And this Kirin 920 powers the first phone in the world operating at LTE catalog 6, which means it supports download speed up to 300 megabps. This is an industry-beating piece of equipment in terms of its performance, processors, energy use, and communication power. That also lifted Huawei's consumer business from a small one, and up until last year, our consumer business already becomes one of the 3 engines of Huawei's business. What I can share with you is Huawei's market share for the smartphone in China have already surpassed Samsung and Apple, becomes number 1, the shipment. Thank you. And even in Spain and Italy, our Huawei smartphone was widely accepted. The market share in Spain is more than 26% of the market share. In Italy, it's even higher. And this chipset I mentioned just now actually contribute a lot in terms of the technology innovation, as well as the cost effective. So we are not restricted by the original producer for these chips from Europe or from United States. That gave us a lot of strength in order to provide a better product for our customer. Well, just now I talked about our glory in the past. And Huawei, we are preparing for the future. Our 2012 laboratory are named after a movie. The name of that movie also called The Day After Tomorrow, in which the oceans inundated much of the world. We believe that the floods of the big data will be just as dramatic as the flood in the movie. So we created the 2012 laboratories to execute the company's mission to innovate, research, and develop our system technology. And today, there are more than 20,000 people in these laboratories around the world conducting research on some of the planet's most cutting-edge technology. And there is no other company in China, and even very few over the world, which conducts research at this kind of scale. So by the end of 2014, Huawei had over 300 specialists on the 5G researchers, over on 5G development in 9 dedicated centers worldwide. We also have joint 5G research programs, have the joint 5G research programs with some of the top universities, including Harvard, Cambridge, and University of California, Berkeley. Our research institute in France and Russia work primarily on mathematical research. And our Russian colleagues have made major contributions in Huawei's development on 2G and 3G technologies. Our success in Europe is largely thanks to 2 innovative products which redefined the network architecture. As I mentioned just now, one of them is a distributed base station, DBS. The other one is a single run. When the technical guys from the Vodafone saw the single run, they called it's a very sexy technology. And these breakthrough products was designed to pack 2G, 3G, and even 4G wireless technology into one single unit. It can save the customers up to 50% of their network installation cost, and it's easy for the environment. And now I have spent 1/3 of today's presentation in discussing about Huawei's innovation capabilities. The second most distinguished feature of Huawei probably is our globalization. So what does globalization mean? Well, look at the data on how much travel Huawei employees do in 2014. Our busiest individual flew a total of 682,754 kilometers. That's a big number. How big is it? It's enough to go around the world for 17 times. And that person visited 205 countries. If you add up all of this business travel for every one of our employees, $107,523 people made 630,749 plane journeys. That's a lot of, the figures is a lot. And covering a total of 1,158,000,000 kilometers. And that's 28,905 times around the globe, the planet. And our people fly over 1 billion kilometers every year, equivalent to 1,500 return trips to the moon. And another feature of our globalization is our global presence. While we're operating in over 170 countries and regions, and our employees are from more than 160 nationalities. If Huawei were an international organization, we would have more members than the WTO, nearly as many as the WHO. Well, working in Huawei doesn't only mean travel around the world. It means serving 1/3 of the world's population and help build a digital economy around the world. The research has shown that the increasing of ICT investment by 20% creates a 1% increase of the GDP. And that digitization creates jobs. Unemployment figures fall by 1.02% for every 10% increase of the digitization. And Huawei drives 100 billions in economic activities and products from over 10,000 suppliers, indirectly support over 2 million jobs. Huawei's own scale in 2014 totally is $46.5 billion USD. And this year, in 2015, we are expecting to hit the figure for more than 62 billion USD. And 2/3 of this revenue are from market outside of China. You will recognize the beginning of the quote from the Archimedes. there, he says, give us a lever and a place to stand. And now I will move the world. Huawei has a place to stand, and the ICT investment is our lever. Once we find a lever, how to move the world? So Huawei offers a global platform. You can help, myself and my colleagues can help the nations to accelerate their development through their ICT strategies. You can change the world by changing the way people communicate and live. So many countries, including Malaysia, recognize the trends towards the digitization, universal networks, and smart technologies. We are creating the national ICT strategies to meet these challenges. For example, Singapore has its own smart nations plan. Brazil has the national broadband plan 2.0, and Germany has Industry 4.0. Industry 4.0 means developing a cyber-physical system which will introducing big data and a smart system into supply chain and the manufacturing and sales. Ultimately, this will mean that the supply of the products can be faster, more efficient, and more customized. Now, in China and even in Malaysia, I see more and more business conducted from via the internet. In last week, the single day in China, 11th of November, the one day sales, for Huawei smartphone in the e-commerce platform hit 1.2 billion RMB. Just one day from the e-commerce. So that's actually a sign that where the society will, in the future, will transform to. So the big data technologies will help us to generate more and more convenient way to the final consumers. And the way the company do business will also greatly impact and change it by this kind of technology. So what Huawei's role in all this transforming? We only do one thing, which is the collecting of the world. So looking back, the 28 years growing path, Huawei has been focusing on one thing, as I said, that is making the connections. Our solutions are serving more than 3 billion population in 170 countries. Over 1,500 networks worldwide were built by Huawei, among which are 174 4G networks, mobile networks, and 304 3G mobile networks, and 130,000 kilometers of fiber optical in the optical fiber backbone networks. And now, I hope you already have a general understanding about our global operations. And because of our global presence, we see where there is a communication, either is a call or data surfing. So wherever there is data, there is a Huawei, a role of Huawei played behind. And Huawei's business is like a water cycle. Carrier business is an ocean, like the Atlantic or Pacific. The enterprise business is a river, like the Yangtze River or Yellow River. The consumer business is the water, mainly bringing water to your tap. So wherever there is a water or the data, Huawei is there providing the support. So Huawei networks and solutions span the globe, helping people everywhere access the information society. The footprint of our Huawei's engineers can be found in the highest and the lowest places, most crowded and most isolated islands. So in 2008, Huawei helped the China Mobile to set up a GSM and Edge network on Mountain Everest. Our network enables communication right up to the summit of the Everest. It was an awesome demonstration of China Mobile and enables the mountaineers to stay the contact using just a mobile phone, even in the highest spot on this planet. In order to make a good on its commitment to protect the environment, China Mobile deployed Huawei 4G base station. The base stations are at 5,200 meters base camp, 5,800 meters interim camp, and 6,500 meters advanced base camp, which is the highest mobile base station in the world. So Huawei has gave mobile network coverage for the full route of this mountain. And another one is the Suriname Guilia submarine cable system, which is the lowest. It's 1,127 kilometers in length, and it was the first undersea cable to be deployed within the Central America region. It increased the bandwidth availability in the local communication by more than 300 times. Huawei Marine Networks and local carriers officially launched this network in July of 2010 at the Caribbean Association National Telecommunication Organization Trade Expo. And the office walls at Huawei Marine are covered with the map of the world's undersea cable networks. The bright line on that map lines spans all over the world's oceans, linked 6 continents, so that information can flow instantly along the globe. The 2015 World Champions in athletics were held in Beijing from August 22nd to 30th. In the famous Birds-Lasso Stadium, there was the biggest athletics event to be hosted at this stadium since the Summer Olympic in 2008. At times, nearly 10,000 people were connected to the network simultaneously. But spot checks inside the stadium found that the download speed held steady at 2 megabps with the peak speed of up to 30 megabps. Huawei's Wi-Fi coverage enables 80,000 people to stay connected, to constantly update the words outside of the stadium on this action. In June 2011, Svalbard Island, Norway, in the 50 below temperatures above the Arctic Circle, Huawei helped our customer connect up the world's northernmost LTE base station. It brought the local residents 100 megabps of wireless internet connection. So the same story happened in London Olympic game. Huawei's network enables 90,000 fans able to experience and share their exciting moment. And the Sichuan earthquake, Huawei's engineers, led by our chairwoman, were one of the very earliest groups reach the epicenter, repaired or built around 900 base stations within 10 days, providing huge support to the aftermath rescue work. And in Saudi Arabia, in the past 10 years, Huawei's network successfully handled the huge traffic volume that challenges the hundreds of thousands of people turn on their mobile phones at the same time during the Hajj. So I think by now you can conclude that the reason Huawei success because our focus, because of our innovation, our commitment. So Huawei we have won the world's trust. This slide shows the top best global brands. Huawei have made the history by being the first Chinese company among these top 100 global brands. This global brand consultancy Interbrand published an annual breakdown of the best global brands out of more than 8 million companies in China. And only Huawei made it into the top 100 best global brand in 2014. And the value of Huawei brand was estimated to 4.3 billion. Thank you. The Global Fortune 500. So 2010, we were number 397. And latest figure, the latest release a few months ago, our ranking already up to 228. So we have been up 169 places. In those 5 years, we have catched up and overtaken all of our competitors. For the first time, we have overtaken Coca-Cola this year. Huawei was the first private technology company from China to make the Fortune 500, appearing the list of the first time in 2010. The revenue of 21 billion and profit of 2.6 billion. They say what goes up must come down. Has Huawei reached its peak? That's a question asked outside of Huawei and sometimes also internally. Huawei has achieved tremendous success, and if we look at the business opportunities in the future, what I want to share with you is our best age. Our best age is yet to come. Here are the reasons. So if we take back to the chart of the ICT development, we achieved 100 times more connections in the past 20 years that our ancestors did in the past 100 years. We estimate that by 2025, there will be more than 10 billion connections. Most of them will be between machine to machines. The exponential growth of the data not only brings huge opportunities to the industry, it also brings bigger opportunities to ICT professionals. If you still can't imagine what a better connection world looks like, here there is a video which can help to visualize it.
We are at the dawn of a new era. The objects around us are becoming aware, intelligent, and collaborative. Our physical world is connecting with us and connecting us with each other. What happens when the whole world connects? Data from sports and entertainment events will stream to audiences across the globe. So wherever you are, you'll feel like you have a ringside seat. You'll share your joy and heartbreak instantly with everybody else. The hassle will be removed from finance. Data will be shared between your assets and your bank. When your car needs repair, your bank will automatically compare the nearest shops, weigh price versus performance, place an order, and make a payment. All without you having to fill out forms or show up in person. Data flow between homes, restaurants, vendors, and farmers will reshape the food supply. Food will be harvested and delivered only as needed, with nothing left to spoil or go to waste. Thanks to the integration of information and communications technologies, businesses will become more integrated. Lines will blur between hardware and software, between one industry and the next, and between customers and partners. We are on the road to a new future where collaboration, speed, and efficiency will be the norm. At Huawei, we're already building this world. We're building connections between homes, small businesses, big enterprises, schools, campuses, institutions, communities, and people. We're building connections from the roof of the world to the depths of the oceans, and we're providing computing capabilities to all things so that they can be smartly connected. A better connected world will make agile innovation integral to every business in an open ecosystem and help businesses by utilizing big data to gain deeper insights and increase efficiency. This is where Huawei is delivering an inspiring experience to connectivity, a world with real-time, all online, on-demand, and DIY services. A world where everyone can enjoy a truly immersive experience and where everyday social experiences are defined not by their limitations, but by their endless possibility. Each meaningful connection is a partnership. Huawei cannot achieve this vision without you. Join us on the open roads to a better connected world.
So the growth of the connection will be at an exponential speed. But what kind of impact it will bring to the economy and to the society? According to the ITU Connect 2020 agenda, in the next 5 years, the growth of the household broadband adoption rate will be growing for 55%. And 90% of the rural population will be having broadband access. 30% of the gas emission will be cut thanks to the ICT technology and most importantly, the advanced ICT network will create a better ecosystem to encourage innovation. However, none of this will be achieved without a key technology, 5G enabled broadband. It is the new black gold, and it is as important as water, electricity, and transportation to us. And before we start to discuss about what is 5G, let's watch another short video. It looks very exciting, isn't it? So the 5G, if you ask me, what is the main features of 5G? Here are mainly three. The first feature is to have a median access within an area of 1 square kilometers. And the second one is about the access speed, more than 10 gigabps. Last one is about network latency, less than 1 millisecond. So what kind of impact to our people's life from this kind of technical specs? As is shown from the video, in the future, the connection will be not only between people to people. Most of the connection will happening of connecting the Internet of Things between the machine to machine. So there are going to be massive of sensors. Now, for example, I have my smartphone, I have my smartwatch, and I have probably a few iPads at home, computers. So for me, I have at least 5 devices. But in the future, this number will increase not by a few times, but probably tens of times, or even more. So the network of 5G, the first mission, is towards the Internet of Things and the connections between machine to machine. And you may notice the 8K handled by the 300 megabps. That is the second 10 gigabps features to support. And the 8K, apparently most of the video you are watching from YouTube is 720, times 720 or something like that. The high definition is 1080, And now we have most of the new TV dramas or the movies generated from Hollywood or in China are 4K supported. And here, the 5G, we're talking about the 8K. Early this year in Barcelona, during the World Mobile Congress, we have shown to the world a system they called MirrorSys, which is actually a simulation of this 8K, how the 8K will look like. It's really high definition. With this one, the picture, if you project the picture on the wall, you will feel it's in the real environment. With the development of the virtual reality, it will enrich the people's life. And also support, for example, some of the application based on this 8K in the future, probably is the remote surgery. Because of the picture is so clear, so that the doctor from the United States, they can see whatever, as detailed as he wants. And the network latency is also one of the key features. 1 millisecond. At the moment, the 4G network actually is now commercially running in Malaysia. The network latency is 50 milliseconds. For human being's ear, it's enough. It's very clear, and you cannot feel the latency, of the network. But here we are talking about 5G. 5G is for the Internet of Things, as I said. When this kind of application, for example, we put this auto driving system in a vehicle, then this milliseconds means life or death. So here I have another video to share with you.
Bring me a dream, mama. Bum 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 bum. Mr. Sandman, bring me a dream, bum 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 bum. Begging that you that I'll never see. Bum 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 bum. You'll have nobody to call my own. Bum bum bum. Please plan on your magic feet. Mr. Sandman, bring me a dream. Bum 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 bum. Mr. Sandman, someone to hold. We'll be so busy before it's too old. So please turn on your magic feet. Mr. Sandman, bring me a dream.
So this is how the future driving system, transportation system will look like. And probably in the future, the illegal driving will be the man who driving. The auto driving will be like the standard. It's in a movie, but it will happen in the future, near future, because the technology is there, and all this vehicle you're seeing now is relying on the 5G network, by the auto driving system. They have all the sensors to feel the people walking on the street, the next car in front or behind, or the one on the vehicle, on the motorcycle. So it's all automatic. And for example, another typical application for the Internet of Things probably will be the electricity meters. Early this year, we have like a collaboration with Vodafone in UK. Jointly, we provide a service to the electricity company in United Kingdom. Originally, they are obliged to send people to collect all the consumption, the meters of the power in every month, you know. But based on the chipset, we have co-designed together with our partner there. We are going to put a chipset into the power electricity meters. Instead of sending people every month to go and check the data, do the record, and be put into the computer, this chipset will report to the system wirelessly, automatically, every minute, once a minute. And this kind of application will not only save the manpower of collecting the data, but also it generates the big data for the electricity company to do the analytic about which area the consumption is at what time. The peak time is between what kind of hours. And this kind of typical application will expand it to all the other industry and will totally change people's life and the way how people do their business. So we are all familiar with the phases of the industry society: mechanization, electrification, automation, and now the ICT technology is carrying us into the next phase when everything goes smart. Every piece of equipment is being connected and becoming smart. Smart is being built into every aspect of the industry and now into every aspect of people's life. And it will bring benefits in every area it touches. And in each industry, the inputs to productive processes was traditionally understood to be materials, energy, and labor. In the future, as the ICT-enabled digital revolution continues, we will come to see connectivity and data as equally important inputs. Technologies such as cloud computing, Internet of Things, big data, and mobile broadband will define the key ICT capabilities and infrastructure as everything goes smart. The ICT industry is growing fast. So by 2025, the digitization will create a market worth 15 trillion USD. The massive market will give Huawei plenty of opportunities. Some students may ask me their advice on choosing a job. My advice is to choose an industry that will have a major impact on their future. Huawei's market space is set to expand massively in the future and will give students plenty of opportunities for their career growth. And Huawei's mission is to build a better connected world. We want to link up all of the world's countless systems, companies, cities, and communities. We will help them work more efficiently, help whole industry to upgrade, and give every network user a better experience. Data logistics is going to require a bigger, wider, and faster pipes, and many more of them. The volume of data which we must carry is rising remorselessly. This is Huawei's strategic opportunity, and we are committed to be the enabler for data logistics. The age of the big data is surging towards us like the tidal wave. We are seeing the bigger data flows, more content, more applications, fast-growing mobile internet. The sheer scale of future data flows will be beyond our imagination. We will need bigger, broader pipes, big data systems that are more responsive in real time, vastly more physical objectives hooked into the network, transmitting, processing, and displaying these mammoth data flows. That is where Huawei's value lies. And we do it with our customers and partners. We built highly efficient, universal connected data logistics system. That is what we call build a better connected world. Here we do Twitter's image of the ballerina's feet demonstrates what we mean. One foot is perfect and elegant in its ballet slipper, and the other covered in wounds and blisters. Huawei's achievements are recognized around the world, but behind those achievements lies the hard work and dedication of every member of Huawei team. And that's the end of my presentation today. A better connected world is ahead of us. Join us and let's build a better connected world and a better connected Malaysia together. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Abraham,
Thank you.
for the inspiring speech, I would say. Okay, now can we collect some of the Q&A sessions?
Yeah.
Members of the floor, you're most welcome for our Q&A sessions. Yes, please, sir.
One of the when you said there will be 100,000, 100 billion connections, that would be a challenge to our privacy, isn't it? Even now, because I carry this handphone, everybody can detect wherever I go by triangulation of the beaming station. So now I've seen people developing smart surface where they can detect where you're moving, where you walk.
Yeah.
Yep, because that will where Huawei will play a role. But how about our privacy? How about our security? Isn't that another thing that we should ponder?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Deputy Vice Chancellor. The cybersecurity is a very big topic. You know, as I mentioned, in the like the whole ecosystem, and the privacy, data privacy, security is definitely one of the key issues. And actually, when there are a few organizations when standard, the cybersecurity and the standardization. And Huawei, our focus is on the connection, and we are participating this kind of privacy protection. It's not only about it's not even mainly about the technical things. Technically, you can define the grade of the different, privacy level. Technically, it's not an issue. I think it's more about the governance or the regulatory of the government, And one day, I think this in the future, the world is not. It's even more intergovernment, talking will have needed in order to have a better privacy.
Thank you, Mr. Abraham. Do you have another questions? Probably yes. Prof.
I'm just curious about, you've talked so much about the technological innovation, that Huawei is perhaps leading and so on. But there are other forms of innovation like management innovation, administrative innovation, that I would like to know what initiatives have Huawei taken, to ensure that these areas are not neglected as well.
That's a very good question. Huawei, as you know, we are born in China. And we are the main of the staff employee are still Chinese. And the feature of the Eastern or Chinese staff is working hard. They working very hard. But the management or the processes used to be a challenge for Huawei. Since 1996, Huawei, we have partnered with some of the top consultant company like IBM, like Hay Group for HR, Price Waterhouse for the financial, So in each and every product, Huawei, we have continuously conducted different kind of management transformation. And for example, for our research and development, we have a project we call IPD, Integrated Product Design. Is IBM actually consulted with us for this project, and by consulting this integrated product design project, we've paid IBM billions of RMB, in order to import this management system. In the supply chain, we have integrated the supply chain, and we have the LTC and lead to cash, all the processes. So one of the key factor why we can survive until now, becomes number one in our industry, is we have combined the Western management system together with the Eastern hard work and wisdom. So this kind of innovation in the management is not a project, actually it's a continuous one. So for example, I was flying back from Shenzhen the day before yesterday morning. The whole week I spent in Shenzhen is to receive the training about this kind of management transformation. Yeah. So it's part of our gene, our blood, in the blood, that we are continuously improve our management. Thank you.
Yes. Yeah. Well, we have two questions here.
African friend.
Okay, and thank you for delight speech for us. I am so delighted also to listen about R&D of Huawei in all countries. Just I have question. What about Malaysia? Now I am a PhD student here in wireless communication. Have you any project to support any project about 5G or wireless communication by R&D of Huawei? I listen for your presentation. You have more money for this. And here in university, we have many different projects for these things. Just I ask about these things because you are the direct one here in Malaysia. And thank you.
Where are you from?
I am from Sudan.
Sudan.
Do PhD.
North Sudan or South Sudan?
North Sudan,
Okay.
definitely.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. A good question. And Huawei, as I mentioned, our R&D is globally distributed. And here in Malaysia, we have, in our global geographic map, Malaysia is one of the very strategic places, And we have our Huawei Malaysia representative office covered the business for Malaysia and Brunei. And we have another 11 function center, including our global training center in Cyberjaya, our Asia Pacific data hosting center in Iskandar, and our global HR sharing center, our financial sharing center, blah, 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 around 11 function center. Of course, our South Pacific regional HQ is also based in KL. If you talk about the R&D, in Malaysia, we have set up the joint labs with different organizations. And we also have some ongoing joint R&D program with the TM R&D Center. Yeah. If you, that topic is quite interesting, and we are open to talk about that.
We look forward for that one. Yes, Prof, probably you have questions?
Yeah, it's me here. I understand that Huawei is a private company. Okay, how they raise the huge capital? Is there any government intervention for the expansion and the growth? As well as what are the risks, significant risks that the company face to penetrate the international and global market, such in South Africa, in EU? Can you just share with us?
For your information, Huawei is a purely private company. And Huawei, all the shares are owned by its staff. The biggest shareholder is our founder, Mr. Ren Zhengfei. And the shares he has is only 1.45%. So the rest, 98.55% of our shares are owned by the rest of the other employees. So Huawei is actually an the employee-owned company. There's zero government-related investment, to Huawei in terms of the capital. And that's the first question. And we did have a lot of, challenges during our journey all over the world, develop our market. But I think it's about time for us to overcome. We have, like in South Africa, when I went to South Africa in 2003, our market share is very, very small. And but now I can tell you the main operators, including the MTN, Vodacom, or the Telkom South Africa, we are like the main supplier to them. We help them to build a better connected South Africa. But at the moment, I think the only challenges or biggest market we have never breakthrough is the States. They have a beautiful reason. Yeah. But I think it's a matter of time. You and I, they will lead us, I think, one day.
Well, can we have last two questions? Is there any question? Yeah, please.
I'm sure most of your installation in Malaysia is sort of a solution based on the customer requirement.
Yeah.
Percentage based, how much is the local content in a solution? I mean, from a Malaysian-made content.
The content, I'm trying, okay. The products we provide to the customer in Malaysia, there are three main domain. One is the traditional networks, and that's kind of network equipment are mainly from China. You know, it's manufactured in China and supported by the global R&D system. But the one I mentioned just now, for example, the one Asia Pacific Data Hosting Center in Iskandar, actually we have a lot of Malaysian local-made content hosted. And this data hosting center is like a bridge to the rest of the world, because this hosting center will host not only the content from China or from Europe, but also we host some of the local content. I heard, you know, according to a report I received last month, one of the top 3 download gaming in our hosting center is actually a Malaysian-made content. The name is Upin Ipin, you know. Yeah. So we are trying to, you know, to have more collaboration with the local innovation company. Yeah.
Thank you.
And the other one I would like to highlight is also about our smartphone. You know, the smartphone, Huawei's the consumer business in Malaysia also developed so fast, and more people they began to recognize Huawei's smartphone not only means the price, you know, more reasonable, but also means high quality. Especially, you know, the communication quality is better than others, because that's where we are from. The system is built by Huawei, so just imagine when we are the one who make these smartphones, we will make sure the communication between the smartphone to the base station will be one of the best.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, please. Yeah, sure. These probably will be the last questions.
A very good motivational, inspiring talk. Thank you very much. I'm just wondering what inspires Huawei to continuously invest in the R&D, because the chart that you showed just now, it was really continuously, it's going up, your investment. So not all years, every year is not so good, right? There must be ups and downs, but what made you or keep you moving with a, you know, going upwards? If you could share that with us. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, actually, if you look at our financial chart, Huawei's, you know, performance or the revenue, actually we are increasing also steady. We have a very steady increase, you know, in terms of the revenue, which means our Huawei itself developed so steady, you know. And we have a policy every year, whatever we earn or whatever you know, the amount we made or the revenue we have made from our market development or the project delivery, we put at least 10% of our revenue into the R&D. That is like golden rules, you know, in Huawei. That is why, as a result of this policy, you see the R&D, you know, investment is very steady, and even I think most of the time, for example, last year and this year, it's even more than 10%. For example, in this year, our forecast for the revenue will be 62 billion USD, and our R&D in the investment this year will be more than 7 billion USD. So actually this is like a positive input. You know, you invest more in the R&D, and then you give more, you know, the power, or give more competitive edge to the products, and serving the customer better, and then the customer give you more order. It's like a positive, you know, circle. I hope I have answered your question. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay. We're about to close this one question. Would you like to take that questions, Mr. Abraham? Would you like to take one question?
Why not?
Excuse me. I noticed that Huawei in Malaysia sells the mobile phones through the website VMall.
Yeah.
I am very curious about the strategy employed, because for VMall, certain models are available all the time, and certain models are available only at certain time, once a week. I think this is quite unusual, because as an online store, you would like to sell all the time, rather than just, you know, a certain period on a certain day of a week. Can you please explain why this strategy was adopted? Thank you.
Yes, we have in Huawei, our consumer business is, you know, conducted in two different, you know, let's say, channels. One is the traditional one. We send it, you know, to the customer, to the final consumers through the channels, the dealers. And the other one we are trying is it's like a new trial or explore, you know, about the e-commerce. Because e-commerce in China is so popular. As I mentioned in the last 11th of November, Huawei owner brand only, we sold like more than 1 billion RMB within one day from the internet. But in Malaysia, the e-commerce, you know, we are still, you know, preparing ourselves, you know, in a place to have in this kind of e-commerce business model, you know, it is related to many aspects, the readiness of the system, and also the logistic readiness, because we have to keep our promise, you know, in terms of the time of delivery, and also I think we are trying to encourage more, you know, sales from the e-commerce of Weibo, Huawei's Weibo, you know. That it seems like it's a trend, and more Malaysian people, they are willing to buy the products from the internet. I think in the future you will see more availability, definitely, in terms of the products.
Thank you so much, Mr. Abraham.
Thank you.
Mr. Abraham, can I have the honor of asking you the very last questions?
Yeah.
How does it feel like to be among the youngest CEO of this giant company in the world? How does it feel like?
That's, you know, it's not easy to answer this question, you know. I think Huawei, the biggest things I myself appreciate is the stage Huawei provide to the young people. That's 10 years ago, I, as the first employee who was sent to Africa, to Congo, and I'm the first one entered that country from Huawei, and I overcome all the difficulties. You know, at the very first time, the company, what they can give you is just borrow you some money, and you go there, do whatever you can do to do the research, meet, you know, with just blended, you know, you know, but once you manage to develop the market, get the trust from the customer, and then when the business grows, naturally you becomes a general, you know. You get more and more employees, and that give you, that kind of stage, they give you to the young people. We justify we select the managers from their achievements, from their performance. Once you get the target, you will definitely get the promotion from the company. They don't think too much about how old you are. Yeah. So that's why I think I was lucky, and I was appointed as a country manager. I used to be the youngest one, but now I'm, not, yeah. So it's a kind of stage I really myself appreciated, and I built up a part of this stage is the experience and also the people you meet. You learn from the different customers. As a 25, 26 years old people, as a representative of Huawei, I was sent to meet the different ministers, the presidents, So it's like a very big stage, they give it to us, rather than the position itself. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
It's very inspiring me. Okay, with that, we wrap up the sessions, and I would like to call upon the Honorable Professor Dato Dr. Insinyur Muhammad Ismail Abdul Aziz, our Vice Chancellor, accompanied by the Prof. Darisha, the Campus Director of UTM Campus, to give to present a memento to Mr. Ibrahim Liu Kang. Please welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Wow. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Again. Thank you, Dato, for the memento. Okay. So, we have another one from the ICC product, I believe.
Few of our
Wow.
It's a UTM product. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Next time, probably I should bring some Huawei phones.
Yeah, isn't it?
Really? Yes, yes.
I think for your lecture in JB,
Yeah.
we have a special prize for the audience.
Yeah.
Yeah, audience number something.
Okay.
You get
Yeah.
free phones.
Huawei phones. Yes.
Yeah.
There will be a lucky draw. Okay, thank you so much again, Dato.